Donald Trump, you saw it here live, right here on CNN, all within the last hour. Finally, 5 years after us begging, he finally acknowledged he's got a brand new position, that he now does, in fact, believe that the President of the United States, Barack Obama, was indeed born in the United States, making him a full-fledged citizen. That's great, because you have to be president. He did it at a gathering that was billed as a news conference. But then when the news conference part of it started, he bolted. He walked away. He didn't take any questions. And then a member of the press corps was physically prevented, physically restrained, as it's being categorized, from joining the media event. I want to get our senior media and politics reporter, Dylan Byers, in here, because media and politics are crashing into one another on this one. I want you to just help our viewers understand what a pool event is, because the weeds sometimes are boring, but the weeds are critical in this story. I want you to explain what the pool event is and what happened and why it matters at this last event.
That's absolutely right. It is critical, as sort of boring or in the weeds as it may seem to some of our viewers. The pool, there's a dedicated pool, a group of reporters tasked with covering each of the presidential candidates. Now, there's a long-standing policy that there needs to be an editorial presence, that is a producer or a reporter in place covering a campaign event. If you just have a camera in place, then what you effectively have is an infomercial. What happened today at Trump Hotel, Trump left his event, started going on this tour. The cameras were let through in order to give him coverage, but the producer from ABC News was restrained. After that producer was restrained, the network bureau chiefs came together and made a decision to pull the camera from the pool and to not release any coverage of that Trump Hotel tour.
So what you're saying effectively is that the media got together and said, don't play us like a fiddle. We're not going to show the lovely gilded lily at that hotel and not be at the same time allowed to ask you questions that maybe aren't so shiny for your campaign. Am I right?
That's absolutely right. And the conclusion here, look, Donald Trump, every presidential candidate in this day and age has a rough relationship with the media. Everyone doesn't want to bring the media too close. They like to keep some things private. No one has had such an aggressive level of disrespect for the media. Just last night, Donald Trump had a campaign event. He left reporters stranded at the airport, then went to his campaign event and mocked the fact that he had left them at the airport, celebrated the fact that he was keeping the media out of his event. If you look at what happened today with this press conference that he gave, where he effectively played the press, rickrolled the press, as our colleague Jake Tapper said, that is a disregard for the media, and his supporters might celebrate it. They might love the fact that he does that, but there's something really important here. When you have a candidate like Donald Trump, who makes so many statements that are factually untrue, it is really important to have the media pressing him on those issues. By keeping them away and by mocking them, he's raising serious questions about his own legitimacy to be commander-in-chief in a country that respects the freedom of the press.
Yeah, I can tell you, having covered a couple of dictators in my life in other countries, covering those campaigns is a bummer, because they don't let you ask questions either. So that's why the American press, love them or hate them, are critical to this democracy. You have to be able to ask people questions if they're going to lead you and if they're going to get your guns, your military, your nuclear codes. You have to be able to get to ask them questions. So real quickly, you mentioned it, the fact that Donald Trump, his press pool was left behind last night and were forced to sort of watch the event on the bus, and then I think they got in just as it was wrapping up. It's not like that hasn't happened with Hillary Clinton. She's left the press pool behind too. But then this was what was different, how Donald Trump characterized leaving the press pool behind. Have a look.
I have really good news for you. I just heard that the press is stuck on their airplane. They can't get here. I love it. So they're trying to get here now. They're going to be about 30 minutes late. They called us and said, could you wait? I said, absolutely not. Let's get going, right?
So what I'm wondering is why so much cheering, other than a lot of people who go to Trump events like to besmirch the media too, but do people not realize, or are they forgetting that other critical element of it? Either you have a media, or you have what I witnessed in Saddam's era, in Libya's era, where you never got to actually call yourself press, you'd go to jail for it.
Well, look, it's actually rather timely. Just this week, Gallup came out with a new poll showing that faith in the media had hit an all-time low. Less than 1/3 of Americans now have expressed trust or faith in the media to report things accurately. That drop, down from 40% last year, is largely fueled by Republicans and largely fueled by Donald Trump's anti-media rhetoric. And he's even taken credit for bringing that number down. That is a serious problem because, like you said, it is the role of the media to hold these candidates accountable, to hold both the Democratic and Republican and presidential candidates accountable. When you lose that, when you start celebrating restriction of the media, when you start mocking the media, that becomes a serious problem for the very foundation of the Democratic project and the American political system.
Dylan, can I just tell you an anecdote? When I was in Baghdad, driving by Saddam Hussein's presidential palace, I was gobsmacked by the size of it, and my driver yelled at me, "Put your eyes forward on the road. Stop looking. We're going to get in trouble." We were on a freeway. And my driver was terrified that I was staring at Saddam's palace. So there's the other side of this. Dylan Byers, thank you. Appreciate it. Continue to tap into what you find out today about the pool event that wasn't.